This chord progression shouldn't sound this tragic, but it does. And the strangest part, it only has one minor chord. Why does it work? Why does it feel so melancholic, so weighty, when nearly every chord is major? By the end of this video, not only will you understand exactly why, but you'll start hearing minor key progressions in a completely different way. When people think of minor keys, they usually think of sadness, melancholy, maybe even a bit of drama. And that's because we're so used to hearing lots of minor chords, especially the 1, 4 and 5. But here's the thing. You don't actually need loads of minor chords to create that minor key feel. In fact, you only need one. In this video, we're going to break down a progression that proves it. We'll have a look at the major chords that give this progression its unexpected bite, a simple borrowing trick that makes everything feel unstable, and a well-known song that uses a similar idea to devastating effect. Let's get into it. We start with an A minor chord. Nothing unusual about that, it's the tonic, and it tells us that we're in a minor key. Minor keys have 7 chords in them. Each chord is constructed with notes from the relevant minor scale, or more precisely, the natural minor scale. For example, the key of A minor has the following 7 diatonic chords: 1 A minor, 2 B diminished, flat 3 C major, 4 D minor, 5 E minor, flat 6 F major, and flat 7 G major. The term tonic refers to the home base or central note of a key, the note around which the rest of the music is centered. Playing this chord establishes a somber or melancholic mood, typical of minor keys. Following the A minor chord, we introduce a B major chord. In the context of A minor, B major is unexpected because it's not naturally found in the A minor key. It is a non-diatonic chord. Typically, the chord which has a B root note in the key of A minor is the 2 chord B diminished. This is a tense chord that wants to resolve. Listen to the difference between B diminished and B major in this next example. So what's going on with this B major chord? It functions as a secondary dominant, specifically the dominant of the dominant, notated as 5 of 5 or 5/5. A secondary dominant is a tool in music theory that adds colour and tension to a progression by temporarily making a non-tonic chord, which is any chord besides the home 1 chord of the key, feel like a temporary tonic. This is done by preceding the target chord with its own dominant chord, creating a sense of pull or resolution. In major keys, the dominant chord is the 5 chord. In minor keys, the 5 chord is a minor chord. In our example key of A minor, it is E minor. But it is very common to play this chord as a major chord. In this case, we could play E major. This can be considered a borrowed chord from the parallel major key. The reason to do this is to intensify the pull back to the 1 tonic chord in what's known as a cadence. Compare the difference between the two in this next example. A secondary dominant takes this concept further, targeting other chords in the key by treating them as if they were the tonic for a moment. This is like a brief glimpse into another key, pulling us towards it without committing to a full modulation. For example, if we treat the E major 5 chord like it's the 1 tonic, then we need to think as if we are in the key of E major. You can see the chords for the key of E major on screen. Here, the 5 dominant chord is B major. So if we play this B major chord in our original key of A minor, it will act like a dominant chord for the E major 5 chord. In other words, a secondary dominant. This is called the 5 of 5, written in notation as a V followed by a slash and then another V. This chord can pull us towards both the diatonic minor 5 chord and the borrowed major 5 chord. Have a listen to both of them in the next A minor key example. So 5 of 5 leads to the 5 chord. You also have 4 more secondary dominants that lead to the flat 3, 4, flat 6 and flat 7 chords. These secondary dominants are major chords and their notation follows the same system that we saw earlier. You have a 5 followed by a slash and then the target chord. So 5 of flat 3, 5 of 4, etc. Secondary dominants are also commonly played as dominant 7th chords. This further intensifies the pull towards the target chord. But why is this the case? Before we have a look at these notes in our A minor key example to explore this further, imagine writing a song, your own song, in just 1 hour. No frustration, no endless rewrites, just a simple, proven system that works in any genre. Right now, 42% of beginner songwriters have never finished a song. But that doesn't have to be you. With Write Your First Song in 1 hour, you'll get a step-by-step blueprint to finish songs fast. More than 25 easy-to-follow video lessons that make songwriting simple, and no music theory required. Just pure creativity. If you've ever wanted to write a song but felt stuck, this course is your shortcut. Learn more by visiting writeasongnow.com today. Link is also in the description. Back to our progression. Look at how the notes move from the minor 5 chord E minor back to the tonic A minor. B moves up half a step to C. Half step movements like this have the strongest pull, drawing the ear towards the next chord. The chords also share the E note, but the focus here is with the G note. It has to move a whole step towards the A note in the A minor chord. If we change this E minor chord to the major 5 E major, then only one note changes. This is half a step away from A, so it turbocharges this chord movement. We now have 2 of the 3 notes moving just half a step, and the other note being shared between the 2 chords. You really hear the pull, and can see how it almost shines more of a light on the minor tonic chord. If you play the 5 chord as a dominant 7th, then it adds a 4th note to the chord. In our example, E7 adds a D note. In minor keys, while sounding good, it doesn't move any notes closer to each other in the chord movement. This added D is a whole step away from either C or E. But if you're resolving to a major triad, like you would in major keys, with a major 1 tonic chord, then this added note is half a step away from the 3rd. If I change our final chord to A major, you can see this here. The D note is half a step away from. So we now know where the B major and E major chords have come from. These are followed by a conventional flat 6 chord, F major. Because we are expecting to hear the 1 tonic chord after E major, this works to disrupt the progression. With the listener disorientated, we then delay resolution even more by moving to the B flat chord. This is a really interesting choice here. This chord is known as the Neapolitan chord, typically a major chord built on the flattened 2nd scale degree, flat 2, of a minor key. In A minor, the 2nd scale degree is B, so flattening it gives us B flat, and building a major chord on that note results in B flat major. You can also think of it as being borrowed from the parallel Phrygian, Locrian or Phrygian dominant modes. The Neapolitan chord is often used in its first inversion, with the 3rd of the chord in the bass, and serves to build tension before resolving to the dominant chord. In this progression, B flat major in root position leads to E major, which then resolves back to A minor, creating a poignant and expressive effect. This progression, despite featuring only 1 minor chord, evokes a deep sense of melancholy due to the unexpected chord choices and the tension that they create. Here's how it all sounds when played together. For a practical example of similar chord usage, you can listen to Radiohead's Exit Music for a Film, which employs borrowed chords to achieve a haunting and tragic quality. The problem with using more advanced progressions like this as a guide is that it leaves you confused. What rules do I follow and what ones do I ignore? If you want to write your own minor key chord progressions quickly and easily, then you need to watch the video on screen now.